Hello, and welcome to the Bluegrass Sports Show. Or
Oh, we are shooting this one live from Jamaica, man.
what? That was the
That's
worst Jamaican accent ever, right there.
Well, you had the worst.
It was Ello.
Oh, whatever you call it. We are the BS Show. We are coming to you live from the
Jesus.
humble abode of the Bentley Vacation Home in Jamaica, man.
Oh, jeez, that was awful accent. All right, I'm Carl.
I'm very.
The animal. That's Shaq.
Yes, he's enjoying his vacation and working on his tan.
All right, and today we are coming at you with our top 5 picks for one and done players. Go ahead.
It's a very loaded list.
It is.
I mean, because granted, there's been a lot of one and done players that haven't panned out. There's a
lot
lot of really good one and done players. So this list, I think, could be controversial.
Oh yeah.
Very debatable.
Mm-hmm.
And before we do, I want to give out a shout out. I'm a University of Kentucky fan, and I hate the University of Florida. But their fans during their game this week had a tribute to Tom Petty, where they played
That's cool.
Won't Back Down
I didn't know that. That's cool.
over the PA, and the entire stadium was singing it. So that's pretty cool. My question now turns to Louisville fans. At what point do you give a tribute to Rick Pitino and in unison sing "I'm in Love with a Stripper"?
Oh my gosh. All right. Erase that from your memory. We're going to go ahead and jump right in this.
It's a serious question. I need to know this answer.
You ruined the whole video. Go ahead with your top 5. Let's get started.
My number 5 is the.
Wow.
I don't know necessarily if this is the original one and done player, but it's the most prominent one and done player who really ushered in the one and done era, if you want to look at it that way. I've got Carmelo Anthony at number 5.
He's my 5.5.
You're 5.5. Now, do I think there's one and done players who will be better than Carmelo? Absolutely. Would I take John Wall over Carmelo? Absolutely. But as far as just
what he's done so far,
he's been in the league for going on 15 years at this point. He's a multi-time All-Star, multi-time All-NBA caliber player. He was a Final Four Most Outstanding player as a freshman
as a senior
in college. So I mean, as a freshman, he was with. If you take into account, I can't remember who the MOP was whenever Duke won in 2015. Per se, I can't directly remember that. Maybe it was Tyus Jones, or maybe it was Justice Winslow. Cody Johnson could correct us on that. But to my knowledge, in recent history, he and Anthony Davis are the only most outstanding players in the tournament who were freshmen.
Right.
So, in recent history.
Like I said, I mean, he's my 5.5.
Okay.
And it's funny that you mentioned John Wall because he's my 5.
I struggled with it.
John Wall's my 5. And, I mean, when you look at this point, though, John Wall's put up some pretty fantastic numbers.
John Wall's an excellent player.
Yes.
He's my opinion, second best point guard in the league.
Yep.
I put Paul ahead of him because the same reason why I'm putting Carmelo ahead of him on this list.
Right.
But if you go statistically right now, I think Wall's better.
Yes, definitely. And I think career-wise, he'll have better accolades.
I hope he has more success.
That's what. Yeah.
I hope whenever you get to the point in John Wall's career that you're at with Chris Paul, I hope you're not looking at John Wall the same way you look at Paul, where he has unbelievable all-time numbers, but no success outside of regular season shows. I hope that's not the case with John Wall.
Yeah. I can see Carmelo topping him, but Carmelo's my 5.5 and Wall's my 5.
Okay, who's your 4?
My 4 is Kyrie Irving.
I don't have him.
I've got Kyrie Irving on there.
Whenever
4.
I give you my top 4, there is absolutely no way I wouldn't take Kyrie Irving over John Wall. Wall's better.
I know, but Kyrie's got the championship.
Kyrie also had LeBron.
I know, but still, that's the only reason. I gave him a nod.
Kyrie also had LeBron.
That's the only
Kyrie also had Kevin Love.
Right.
Kyrie's already had 2 teammates in Cleveland better than anybody. I would argue, with the exception of 2 people on my list at this point, Kyrie Irving's had better teammates than anybody else on my list.
Right.
So that's just
I got you.
Kyrie before LeBron Cleveland couldn't get out of the top 5 in the NBA draft.
Right.
So absolutely, 100%.
I know, I
Kyrie's great. He's a great scorer. That's it. He can't go
Literally
to anybody.
the only reason I gave him the nod was the championship.
See what
that was the only reason.
See what Kyrie can do for himself.
Yeah, on the Celtics. Yep.
And then maybe you can talk me into taking Kyrie on this list. But absolutely, there's no way I take him over John Wall. John Wall's a much better player.
Right. I mean, I agree. I agree he's a better player. The only reason it's championship. It's the only reason I gave it to him.
Well, I mean, by that standard, I'm sure there's other one and dones that's won a championship. Now they may not have They may not have the same impact on the team as what Kyrie had, but Kyrie's not remotely. He can't get out of the lottery, much less in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know.
Not much less in the finals.
I know.
Without LeBron.
Yeah,
he can't get out of the top 5 without
LeBron. You're not arguing anything I don't know.
So I completely disagree with you having Kyrie on this list. Fine. So go ahead. Oh, I guess it's my turn now. This is where I have Karl Anthony Towns.
Ooh. See, I don't have Cat on my list yet.
I don't understand why you wouldn't.
How are you having him and not John Wall? That's what I want to know.
Because while you're placing a lot of emphasis on their career stats at this point between Wall and Towns. What I'm looking at, while Wall has won more, Towns has only been in the league for 2 seasons.
Yeah, but I mean...
And the numbers and the efficiency rating that Towns has to this point is among the all-time greatest in the game.
So is Wall.
Not the efficiency rating. His point guard numbers, maybe. We're talking across the grand scale of the entire game.
Right.
Karl Anthony Towns, the numbers and the efficiency that he's putting up is just out of this world. And something that's not put into perspective enough, he reclassified in high school. His freshman year in college should have been his senior year in high school. In turn, his rookie year in the league should have been his freshman year in college.
Right.
So last year he averaged 25 and 12, and by age-wise, should have been his rookie year.
Right.
So absolutely, I'm taking Karl Anthony Towns at my number 4. To me, I take NBA GMs last year voted if they had a choice of any player in the league, who would they take to start a franchise?
Right.
Karl Anthony Towns beat out LeBron.
Yeah.
So
definitely. And I mean, I fully understand that. The only reason I don't have Cat on this was that he was so young. That's it. If it wasn't for that, I mean, skill-wise, he's up there.
Okay. Now my number 3 is Anthony Davis.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Dang, I don't know who your top 2 are.
I have 2 one and dones. Now it doesn't necessarily mean that Davis won't be better than the 2 above him, but for what Anthony Davis is, I'm taking him at number 3. Once again, you go back, he's the other with Melo, Final Four outstanding player, most outstanding player. National Player of the Year coming out of college. National Defensive Player of the Year, National Freshman, same awards in the conference as what he did nationally. Number 1 overall pick, Olympic gold medal, and at this point he's an All-NBA caliber player. Put up 28 and 12 last year.
Yep.
Davis, I want to see have more success.
Right. Now he's arguably had least around him.
Davis is one of the players I was talking about on my list that has maybe had a better teammate to this point than what Kyrie has had with DeMarcus.
But that was only.
But DeMarcus would only be better than Kevin Love.
Right.
And he's had DeMarcus for half a season, if that.
Right.
So that's my argument over Anthony Davis over Kyrie, and that's why I completely disagree with Kyrie. Kyrie would still have nice numbers, but the way you would look at Kyrie Irving right now
would be different.
Exactly.
Would be different.
Because Cleveland was nowhere close to anything.
I completely
Now,
agree.
you have to put this into perspective as to what Andrew Wiggins might have done. They may have been decent, but you're looking at Kyrie Irving in a completely different light.
No, I completely
Cleveland
agree.
is light years behind where Wall has the Wizards, if not for LeBron. So I have Davis at 3. Davis, to me, he can top this list someday, but for right now, I have him at 3.
Yes, I agree. One day he'll top the list.
One day I think Karl Towns will top.
Well, maybe. But them 2 are going to be number 1 and 2. I mean, judging by what's came into the league right now.
Only 2 years in the league right now is the only reason why I have Karl Anthony Towns solo.
Right. Well, this is the only pick right here that because it's my 2 picks, right? This is the only reason I've got
Well, you're
these
going
2.
to your number 3 here. Number 3
Yeah,
and
I know.
2.
3 and number 2. Okay. These 2 are only flipped because of the same reason I didn't put Cat in, which is sad, right? But it's just I don't know, just my thinking. My number 3 is Kevin Love.
Okay.
And he's a really good player. There's no arguing Kevin Love. He's got the championships as well, or the championship. But and his numbers took a toll. But that's going to happen.
He was really good in Minnesota.
He was great in Minnesota.
But his efficiency rating was not the same caliber.
But
because he's not a defensive player. He was a big fish in a small pond, and that pond was just a sewer dump.
Right.
Just not even remotely. Karl Towns
is much better.
And the youth movement in Minnesota, and then you add in Jimmy Butler, which greatly helps. Jimmy Butler's going to only be a caliber player at this point. Yep. But Karl Towns has Minnesota thinking playoffs to where Kevin Love had Minnesota just all the time as a top 10 pick.
Right.
So it's different. I don't. The players that I have on my list, Carmelo, while I don't particularly like Carmelo now isn't a great player in my opinion. The 5 players I have on my list, you could, at their best, put them on any team in the league and it automatically makes them better. I don't necessarily see how you do that with Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving.
But I think Carmelo's got the same problem.
Carmelo now, yes. But Carmelo led Denver to the playoffs.
But he didn't play defense or anything like that. And that's why he still would be at the bottom of the list on my list.
I'd take Carmelo every day over Kyrie Irving.
I probably would.
Every single day.
I would too. But
maybe not now, but Carmelo at his best developing versus Kyrie, I would take Carmelo every single day.
I would too. I'm not arguing that. But like I said, Kyrie and Kevin Love are only getting nods for championships. That's it. And yes, they had LeBron. That's the only reason. They're probably in the top 10, I'd say, but not in the top 5 if you take out the championship. That's it. My number 2 is where I've got Davis.
Okay.
Yep.
I can get behind that.
My number 2 is where I got Davis. And I mean, you've talked all about Davis. This guy's phenomenal. And like you said, with him and Cat, I do believe both of them will be number 1 and 2 eventually. But just not yet.
I believe you've got mine number 2 at your number 1.
Probably.
I've got Kevin Durant at number 2.
Yep, I got him at number 1.
Kevin Durant, once again, you've heard me call him the most lethal offensive weapon of all time. Let me explain to you why I have him at number 2. Because you could interchange 1 and 2 for me. I put Durant at number 2 because it took him a little bit longer.
Right.
Durant, MVP, of course, of the league. He's a champion now. He's going to go on to have all-time great numbers. We've talked enough about Kevin Durant in the past. My number 1, even with the injuries, the impact that he had on the game before injuries, I've got Derrick Rose as the greatest one-and-done player of all time.
Ooh. Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose won an MVP in his 3rd season.
Well, yeah, but I mean, now, his numbers are not going to be all-time greats.
I agree with that.
But you're looking at, the whole list has been different. What you're looking at is a skill basis on best either yet or best at their time.
Yes.
That's why he's on your list and he's atop your list.
Yes.
I understand completely what you're saying.
Derrick Rose,
I'm looking at it completely different.
Derrick Rose without injury right now, it is untelling the accolades
that
he would have piled up. That's the reason why him and Durant are interchangeable to me.
I agree.
But whenever you go player by player, we're not debating who has the best career statistics as far as team accomplishments, anything like that. If that being the case, then yes, I'm going to lend weight to championships.
Yep.
I'm looking at players individually right now.
See, that's the difference.
I'm looking at the fact that Derrick Rose, as a one-and-done player, at 21 years old, was a league MVP.
Right, and he was tough. Derrick Rose was tough.
Derrick Rose, I wish he was still healthy. God, I wish he was still
me too.
Because Derrick Rose is still really good now.
Yeah,
he's still really good now. He averaged 16, 17, 18 points a game last year. Yep. He played in almost 70 games last year. He just does not have the explosiveness that he used to have. The first step is still there. The quickness is there. Right. But just the Westbrook-like explosiveness.
Yep.
He was more athletic than Westbrook.
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know. If
I would take Russell Westbrook's triple-double last year was unbelievable.
Right.
Absolutely out of this world. Derrick Rose at his best, I would take over Russell Wilson.
Maybe. I mean, that's debatable.
Derrick Rose was a far more efficient player at his best than what Westbrook is.
He was tough, and Westbrook makes stupid decisions that Derrick Rose didn't
Rose
make.
was just a spectacle to watch, man.
He was. I loved Rose.
Man, I
Don't
wish
get me
Derrick
wrong.
Rose being.
But that's what it is, and that's the difference in our lists, right? I'm looking at career as a whole, what they've done. You're looking at who the player is. And that's why Davis is kind of weird to me, because I've got him up there, but it's just because how good he is, you can't discount it. You know what I mean? And even though his career numbers,
well, the only players I got ahead of Davis was Durant and Rose.
Right. So. But Rose, if you looked at it the same way I did, Rose wouldn't be on there. Right, you're looking at how good the player is.
I'm looking
and
at
this is weird that we took this, because I'm normally the one that I'm looking by how I watched them and how good they were.
I'm looking at the fact that Derrick Rose is the youngest MVP in NBA history.
Yeah, but I mean on his career, at the end of his career, nobody's going to look back at Derrick Rose and say,
if we were to discuss all-time bust, would you consider all-time bust with injuries?
Him being on it?
No, what I'm saying, if you're wanting to talk about all-time bust players, all-time players that have been bust in the draft, that were taken super high and didn't pan out,
right.
Would you consider putting a player who suffered from injuries that they could not control?
Would me, myself, do that? No.
Then I'm not going to completely deflate Derrick Rose's career at this point,
right.
or his skill as a one-and-done player and his ranking as one of the greatest one-and-done players of all time, because he got injured. Injury is the only reason why he's not a top 3 player in the NBA today.
Right. I completely agree.
So, with me being 21 years old, a league MVP, you were a one-and-done player,
yep.
Absolutely you should top this list. The only player that should be in question to him is Kevin Durant.
At this point.
At this point,
yep. And like I said, looking at it the way you looked at it, I can completely understand your list. And doing that, then I'm starting all over. I've probably still got Durant at number 1. Probably I could see D Rose at number 2. Maybe.
Now, I have Kyrie and Kevin Love probably in my top 10.
Top 10,
definitely Kyrie
but
in
not
my top
10. 5. Not looking at the way you're looking at it, not top 5. I'm looking at careers.
If you want to look at nice little accolades to go along with a career, then yes, I get why you do.
Right.
And the championship means a lot.
Well,
but Kyrie Irving doesn't.
Means a little.
Kyrie and Kevin Love, I don't know if they make the playoffs.
Right. I understand.
Just like if you have the same Cleveland team, it's just Kyrie and Kevin Love. I think they do make the playoffs, but they're not a contender.
I mean, if you take away LeBron and give them, and they keep Wiggins, right? Let's just say that happens, but they've still got Love.
Well, they don't get.
I know, but I'm just saying. Let's say they've got Love and they kept Wiggins, right? And Kyrie, that's a playoff run team, but.
I don't think it's a playoff run team. I think it's a team that makes the playoffs.
Team that makes playoffs, right? That's what I'm saying. But they're not going to. They're not. I don't even know if they're making the finals of the playoffs. I mean, the Eastern Conference Finals.
I don't think they're getting out of the first round with that team.
They might squeak by in the first. In the East, they might squeak by in the first.
What round. I will say, LeBron, wherever LeBron goes,
is considered.
He's going to alter the league.
Yep, I agree.
And the axis of power with the league, wherever LeBron goes.
Yep.
Derrick Rose's injury is the second most impactful feature of the Eastern Conference in the last 7 years.
And another thing, just to
completely change the complexion of the league.
Just to make sure that they understand how much I agree with you. What you heard me say, that if Derrick Rose plays this season, I mean, it'll never happen, but if he plays this season like he never got injured, they're winning the championship. I'm putting them that far. They're winning the championship. You give me LeBron and a D Rose of old, they're winning the championship.
A D Rose of old, man.
Yep, I know.
Woohoo!
That's what.
Woohoo!
So we had 2 different types of lists on the same list, which is crazy. That's weird. But like I said, I completely understand yours looking at the way you looked at it. But I'm going to stand by mine. I would change it looking at it, your perspective, how you looked at it. So I completely understand that. But anyway, if you guys liked it,
I'm staring off into oblivion thinking about a prime Derrick Rose playing with a good LeBron.
yeah.
Man.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, you never know. Miracles happen.
And think about the names that didn't get put on this list.
Oh, I know.
Oh, man.
I know.
The league is loaded with one and done talent.
Yep, it is. Yeah, I was looking at all the players just because I can't remember names.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, D-Cuz. I mean, I was like,
Eric Bledsoe.
God almighty. The players that
Devin Booker.
the players I'm not putting on this list is
Jabari
amazing.
Parker. Avery Bradley.
But anyway, if you guys liked it, go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button. Like us on Facebook, Bluegrass Sports Show, Twitter, Bluegrass Sport 2. If you like it, go ahead and share it among your friends. Well, Beasley was awful.
Yeah, he was awful. He was good at the beginning of his career.
Good offensive player, terrible defense, terrible attitude. But
Blake Griffin.
Yeah, there's Blake Griffin too. I forgot.
Man,
I forgot about him.
I forgot about Blake Griffin. I don't think I'd take him over anybody on my 5, but Blake Griffin.
I mean, I'd take him over Kevin Love and God, Kevin Love's. Yeah, probably Kevin Love and Kyrie definitely. I think Kevin Love's better than Kyrie. It's that part. I really do. I like Kevin Love better, but I just don't like Kyrie.
I agree with that.
I just don't like Kyrie. But anyway,
I like Kevin Love better than Kyrie.
Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.